Hey guys, welcome back to The Binger. It's been a long, lonesome time since Harry Potter ended, hasn't it? The movies wrapped up way back in 2011, leaving us with this huge hole in our lives. Sure, we could watch them over and over and over again, but after 12 times you start to feel like you need to branch out, you know? So for lovers of everything magical, what else is out there that can help satiate the Harry Potter feels? Luckily for us, there are a fair few shows on Netflix that appeal to fantasy lovers. Here's a list we lovingly compiled to help you get through the withdrawals. Okay, sure, there's no magic involved in this one, but that doesn't mean it's not magical from the get-go. A series of unfortunate events originally started out life as a book just like Harry Potter, before being molded into a Netflix series starring Neil Patrick Harris. The premise is distinctly dark and odd when you think about it, and we're not just talking about aesthetically, although that is a big part of it. The parallels between Harry Potter and this series are many if you just look at it hard enough. For a start, our four-eyed wizard famously becomes an orphan when he loses both his parents to that conniving Voldemort. This kickstarts his entire narrative and gets him in all sorts of wand-waving trouble, right? A series of unfortunate events also focuses on a set of orphaned children. The kids lose their parents in a devastating fire when they're very young. Not only do mom and dad go up in flames, but so does their hope for a happy future. While Harry is sent to live with his mean Uncle Vernon, the unfortunate children wind up with the eccentric and disturbing Count Olaf. Let's face it, these stories have an awful lot in common, so if you're a fan of everything deep and personal about Harry Potter, you'll love this show. Even though there's not a witch or a wizard in sight, there's a lot to be said for the adventurous storylines. Plus, a series of unfortunate events isn't like your average family drama. Everything has a sort of Tim Burton feel about it, which certainly helps when it comes to racking up points with the Harry Potter fanbase. What's more is there are tons of books in the series, way more than there are in Harry Potter's world, so if you want to sink your teeth into something else, then they are primed for the picking. What better way to fill that void than by double-teaming something that's simultaneously entertaining and addictive? You'll thank us in the end, and we'll be telling all your friends about how great we are for tipping you off. If the very mention of Sabrina has you thinking of Melissa Joan Hart's finger-pointing, Harvey-obsessed witch of the 90s, then wipe that slate clean. Yes, the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina are based on the same character from the Archie comics, but this show couldn't be more different from its predecessor. Forget everything you think you know about this teenage witch, because you're about to get the education from hell. Literally. Kiernan Shipka of Mad Men fame heads up the cast of this Netflix original that just oozes appeal. Not only is it deeply dark, but it's massively magical too. If you loved the last two Harry Potter movies more than the others, then this is a show that you will love. The series focuses largely on Sabrina's struggle with being half human and half witch. On the one hand, she has a dark lord who is desperate to have her sign his book and align herself with the path of night forever. On the flip side, Sabrina has her mortal life to think of, with her human BFFs and, of course, Harvey.
I love you guys. Also, everybody stay close.
Over the course of the seasons, the characters develop and take paths that aren't predictable, unlike a lot of teen shows these days. Plus, for fans of Riverdale, it's set in the same universe, and you can enjoy a sneaky little crossover or two in more recent seasons. If that's not fun, then what is? The relationship between Sabrina and the Dark Lord is reminiscent of the struggles Harry had with Voldemort. If you like your magic a little on the dark side, then this is a distinctly more grown-up route for slightly older Harry Potter fans. Maybe don't watch it with your 10-year-old sibling. It's less Professor McGonagall and more Professor Snape if you catch our drift. One of the best parts about the series is that the seasons are relatively short. That might sound like a bad thing, but it keeps you wanting more. The delectable morsels just keep coming, so jump on the bandwagon. When you really think about the premise of Locke Key, it seems like something that would never work well on screen, but it really does. This show focuses on the dysfunctional Locke family and their return to the homestead of their father, who was recently taken before his time in a brutal fashion. The three siblings battle with life in a new town while their mom tries to renovate the mysterious, sprawling mansion that her husband left to them.
This place is huge! It just keeps going!
The youngest son, Brody, ends up discovering that this house has more secrets than just dampness in the basement. Things really kick off when the snooping kid finds a mysterious lady in the well house that starts convincing him to find things for her. Sound creepy? That's because it is. Can you imagine finding someone camped in your backyard and not running for the hills? On screen, though, it's kinda cool. Some comic book adaptations end up being massive failures, but not this one. Throughout the show, the well lady pursues Brody and his siblings as they try to find the various keys that are hidden around the home. These keys open doors and give the bearer the ability to do some really strange, mystical things. Of course, as with anything powerful, there's always one bad apple that wants to spoil it for everybody else. Fans of Harry Potter can spot some direct references to the franchise which were put in by co-showrunner Meredith Averill. There are some great twists and turns too, which keep you guessing. Are there any out-and-out supernatural beings? Not exactly, but that doesn't stop this show from being one of the best fantasy offerings since Harry Potter itself was in its prime. Locke Key still has a lot to offer, and could be well on its way to being one of the best shows of its kind out there. Plus, Meredith Averill also had a hand in The Haunting of Hill House, so you know it's in good hands. Add this show to your list and never look back. It'll be worth every moment that you spend investing in it. The Umbrella Academy is another superb Netflix original based on a comic book series. These types of shows have skyrocketed in popularity lately, with networks and streaming services racing to churn out the best adapted graphic novels. Netflix really landed on its feet when it landed this one. This show stars Ellen Page as one of the main characters, giving it that little added boost of star power. Like some of the other shows we've mentioned, the Umbrella Academy also focuses on a dysfunctional family. This time, they're famous superheroes that have scattered across the world. When the siblings learn that their adoptive dad has passed away, they reunite at his funeral. As well as gritty sibling drama, there's also the teensy-tiny question of the return of a lost brother who also warns of the pending apocalypse.
So, are we going to talk about what just happened?
Seriously, what's not to love about the Umbrella Academy? It's a wild ride, and you need to be on it. As well as focusing on present-day problems, there are plenty of scenes that throw back to their strange childhood as a ragtag group of crime-fighting kids. Match that with some beautifully choreographed action scenes, impressive CGI, a witty script, and you've got yourself a winner. There are so many elements to this series that make it prime watching for Harry Potter fans. For a start, each sibling is entirely different than the rest, making it compelling and interesting from start to finish. There's also a robot mother. Who doesn't want to watch that? Although this show is fantastical, it's miles away from the wizarding world that we know and love. However, it does have that same element of unpredictability and dark mysteriousness that pulls you in. It's not exactly suitable for younger ages, as there are references to some more adult themes, but frankly, if you grew up watching HP, then it doesn't come much better than this. Just because we're older and have jobs and responsibilities now doesn't mean that we can't kick it with our nerdy tendencies every once in a while, right? Let that freak flag fly! If you're not already watching this show, then frankly, we have to question your sanity. Ever since Stranger Things burst onto the screens in 2016, TV fans have been going wild for it. It doesn't really matter if you're a fan of Harry Potter or not. This show has converted those poor lost souls who previously never liked fantasy or sci-fi. That's how good it is. If you are a fan of Harry Potter, then you'll like it even more, which is a huge bonus. One of the defining things about the Potterverse is the sense of camaraderie between Harry and his friends. At the end of the day, these are just children that have been dragged into something that they never asked for. It's up to them to stop the big bad from consuming everything and everyone they know. Stranger Things is exactly the same, with an interstellar young cast that includes Millie Bobby Brown and Finn Wolfhard. The only real difference is that instead of battling Voldemort, this group is fighting weird, otherworldly, interdimensional creatures. The series focuses on Eleven and her powers of telekinesis as they try to take down this evil being that threatens their very existence, the Mind Flayer. It's also interspersed with dark humor and the complex relationships that the young characters have. There's a little romance that reminds us of Ron and Hermione, and a fair share of easily manipulated characters like Billy the lifeguard. He could be best friends with Malfoy. Is there a school like Hogwarts? No. There's no wise old headmaster like Dumbledore, and no mythical beings. There's just an American high school. With that being said, this is a show that at its core focuses on the characters as they deal with both incredible threats and growing up. If that isn't familiar, then what is? The creators, the Duffer Brothers, are fans of Harry Potter, and have pointed out the similarities between the works themselves. Just like the Potter movies, each season of Stranger Things focuses on a brand new school year. Coincidence? We think not. And there you have it, guys and ghouls. What do you think? Locke and Key certainly had us turning, while Stranger Things is arguably the creme de la creme of fantasy TV. Let us know your favorite down in the comments below. And before you go, please be sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a big ol' thumbs up.